Cats have had a very long relationship with humans. They first became domesticated by the ancient Egyptians as early as 4,000 years ago. There were many rodents at this time, which in turn brought many cats to human communities. These cats were very well skilled in killing and dealing with these rodents, and so this earned the affection of humans. The early Egyptians worshipped a cat goddess and even mummified their cats for their journey to the next world, which was often accompanied by mummified mice for them. However, some dispute that cats were actually domesticated 12,000 years ago after humans began farming and they invited themselves to live with farmers. Cultures around the world have adopted cats as their own companions. Cats are now one of the most popular pets, and there is currently more than 100 million in existence worldwide. There are now more than 30 different breeds of domestic cat, and it is believed that all originated from the African wild cat. The Latin name for cats is Felis catus. Cats are largely carnivorous animals and evolved a simple gut that is appropriate for the consumption of raw meat. Cats also have evolved to have rough tongues, as this enables them to groom themselves efficiently and enables them to clean every last morsel from an animal bone. They have a monogastric digestive system which has evolved to deal with their carnivorous diet. When a cat swallows their food, they do it in chunks rather than chewing. This is because their teeth don't have flat chewing surfaces like humans, and a cat's jaws only move up and down, whereas ours can move from side to side. The tongue then positions the food for shredding and tearing and mixes it with saliva to start the breakdown of carbohydrates. The tongue then pushes the food toward the throat, where muscles in this 12-inch to 15-inch long tube move it down to the stomach. From the esophagus, the food then passes through a sphincter, which is a ring of muscles, and then goes into the stomach itself. The stomach acid then begins the breakdown of food, particularly proteins. A cat's stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve bones. From the stomach, the food passes through another sphincter into the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. From here, the gallbladder releases bile and the pancreas releases various enzymes. Bile is a chemical produced by the liver and is stored in the gallbladder and breaks up large fat molecules into smaller ones which can be absorbed. The enzymes that are secreted by the pancreas neutralize the acids in the food before it passes into the intestine and aids in the digestion of sugar, fat, and protein. One of these is insulin, which regulates the levels of glucose in the cat's body. The small intestine is the longest part of the cat's digestive system, and this is where all the nutrients are absorbed. The small intestine is lined with small finger-like projections called villi, which absorb proteins, enzymes, and water. The large intestine, also known as the colon, absorbs the last water from the food. Solid feces form and bacteria produces enzymes that break down material that is more difficult to digest. The feces collect in the rectum until they are ready to be ejected from the anus. Earlier on, when the food reached the stomach, a signal was sent to the colon telling it to empty itself. This is called the gastrocolic reflex and is why cats, as well as humans, feel the urge to go to the toilet after they eat. The time it takes the food to travel from the mouth to the anus is about 20 hours. Like their wild ancestors, cats are natural hunters and tend to stalk their prey. Cats have acute hearing and are built to be nimble, agile, and have long tails which give them outstanding balance. Most cats tend to hunt at night as they can see much better than their prey due to their light-reflecting eyes. In order to maintain their excellent eyesight, cats must have taurine in their diet. Taurine is an amino acid that is critical for normal vision, digestion, heart muscle function, maintaining normal pregnancy and fetal development, and maintaining a healthy immune system. If there is not enough taurine, the retinal cells of the eyes will eventually degenerate, which will impair the cat's vision and may lead to blindness. This is why taurine is an essential amino acid for a cat. Protein supplies essential amino acids and is needed for making antibodies, enzymes, hormones, and tissues, and for proper pH balance. It also provides energy for cats and is essential for growth and development. Protein contains many essential amino acids, as is found in foods such as meat, fish, eggs, and poultry. Foods such as grains and vegetables do not supply the proteins that a cat needs, as taurine can only be found in animal protein. Cats need animal sources of protein as the amino acids from vegetable sources aren't very well utilized. The amount of protein a cat needs can vary slightly due to a variety of factors such as their physiological state, age, activity, and the digestibility of the protein source being fed, but overall cats have a very high requirement for protein. Cats also need fat within their diet. This is a source of energy for the cat and also essential fatty acids and aids in the utilization and transportation of nutrients. Fat is found primarily in animal sources, and omega-3 is one of the most important fatty acids for a cat. Minerals are essential to the cat and are involved in almost all the physiological reactions within the cat's body. They form enzymes, pH balance, utilize nutrients, transport oxygen, and are stored in bone and muscle tissue. Minerals include calcium, copper, fluorine, iodine, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, sulfur, and zinc. Vitamins are essential for the regulation of the cat's metabolism and normal growth and function. The vitamins are found in the food and some are synthesized within the cat's body. Cats utilize animal sources of nutrients more readily than plant sources. For example, cats can't convert beta-carotene from plants into vitamin A, so they need to get vitamin A from an animal source. Water is also essential. Cats are designed to fulfill most of their water requirements by eating fresh, raw food, so they naturally don't need to drink a lot. This means they can develop health issues when they eat dry food products and treats. One of the problems is that even though they become dehydrated eating the dry food, their body may not encourage them to drink more. Even though a healthy cat doesn't drink much, clean drinking water should always be available. The majority of domestic cats are fed cat food or kibble, such as Whiskas, Iams, Royal Canin, and many others. These foods provide the cat with their essential amount of fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and phosphorus. However, the water content of these foods can sometimes be dangerously low in the dry foods, and most of these products are heavily processed and do not provide the cat with a fresh diet. Most dry foods are less than 10% moisture, so cats on these diets are prone to urinary tract infections, as when all of what they eat and drink is added together, cats on dry food diets have been found to have less than half the water of a cat that is on a canned or raw diet. Dry foods are also very high in carbohydrates and so promotes an obesity in cats and plays a part in feline diabetes. Despite this, there are many benefits of a dry food diet. Dry cat food is convenient as it can be left out during the day without spoiling as quickly as moist cat food, so the cat can eat whenever they want throughout the day. If the cat is being fed a high quality dry food, then they will get all the proteins and vitamins they need from smaller servings. Dry food is also much cheaper than wet and raw food, and it meets the diet requirements of the cat. Another diet that cats are fed in captivity is a wet or canned food diet. Canned cat food is comprised of 40 to 60% pure protein and contains much more moisture, so cats that at least have a partial canned cat food diet can keep their hydration levels closer to normal. Wet food also provides more flavour and variety to the cat's diet, so supplementing a dry food diet with canned cat food or feeding a variety of wet cat food flavours can help keep the cat's appetite at normal levels so that the cat is receiving proper levels of food and nutrition. Wet food is leaner and higher in protein instead of carbohydrates, which is more suitable to a cat's natural behaviour of short bursts of energy followed by long bouts of napping, and wet food is much more palatable. Despite this, there are some disadvantages to a wet food diet. Due to the extra protein and nutrients, the cat may be at risk of becoming obese from this diet and are likely to be at higher risk of developing dental problems. Also, when feeding wet food to a cat, a higher volume and weight of food is needed, and wet food is more expensive than dry food, so this can be costly. An alternative diet to wet or dry food is a raw food diet. Cats that are fed these diets are fed it because it closely imitates the diets cats would get in the wild and which their physiology is naturally made for. Cats eat a varied diet in the wild, including organs, brains, and occasionally stomach and intestine contents, and this diet closely imitates it. This is very beneficial for the cat as it evokes their natural hunting, predatory, and carnivorous instincts. The nutrients found in a raw diet help to build the cat's immune system, improve digestion, have a healthy coat, more energy, better dental health, reduce stool odour, and places the cat in better health, which reduces the risk of obesity or feline diabetes. However, due to the handling and consumption of raw meat, there is a significant risk of developing foodborne illnesses such as salmonella. Buying this food is also more expensive than normal cat food, but due to the high nutrient content, cats don't tend to need as much of this food, so it can actually end up costing the same or less. The storage for the raw diet is also more complicated, as the meat would have to be specially stored so it does not go off and cause problems for both the cat and the owner. Due to the natural hunting instinct of a cat, a good way to provide enrichment when feeding them is to try and mimic this. Feral cats can spend 8 hours hunting every day, whereas house cats tend to get their food in a bowl and so spend very little time and energy engaged in getting their food. Some owners use puzzle feeders when feeding their cats, which enables the cat to stick their head in the container and pat the food down so they can eat it. There are also toys which provide a variety of different surfaces and obstacles in the bowl that stimulates the cat and makes them work in order for them to get their food. Food dispensing items can also be used, such as treat balls, where the cat has to push it around in order for the food to fall out, like they would with a Kong, where they would have to manipulate it in order to get the food out. Some owners have also been known to hide food around the house or environment so the cat has to search, forage, and hunt for their food. Anything that engages the cat can act as enrichment, as they are working harder for the food than they would have to if it was just in a bowl. Simply heating their food up can act as enrichment, as it makes the food closer to what they would find in the wild if they had caught their own prey, and evokes the natural predatory instinct and stimulates their mind, which in turn makes them a happier cat.